But I know for you, you don't even need to look at anything. You could just be a blind person and just it's natural. And I feel like I want to get to that point because I feel like maybe you don't even need to look down at this. You could just look up and just catch the
Right.
beats.
What you're talking about is building your instincts on
Yeah.
turntables.
Yeah.
A lot of people that take on this art and learn it, even if they have a year or two of experience under their belt,
Mm-hmm.
they learned via rote memory. Rote memory meaning repetition, and they fail to develop the instinct, the feel for when to do things, how to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because if you let's say you go take a class at a DJ school, what happens a lot of times is instructors teach it in a very regimented, structured way. So it's like you're learning these techniques that, to be honest with you, were created by young kids, 14, 15 years old, like Grandmaster Theodore, Grandmaster Flash, in a very loose, unstructured way. And then you're giving these techniques structure.
Right.
So you're taking away a lot of the improvisational aspects of a technique and how you execute a technique when you teach it in a structured, put your hand at 9 o'clock, move back, move forward, like very structured way. You know what I mean? So structure is important because it allows someone that has no kind of connection or reference for any of the stuff that revolves around DJing to kind of get a feel for like what it is that they need to do. But then structure could hurt you if you don't, at some point, especially with turntablism and DJing, if at some point if you don't start applying instinct and feel and emotion, then you just become a robot.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then with technology, the way it is now, you really have to develop your senses on turntables because the minute you open a laptop, you start to kind of depend on it. And I'm talking about people that are learning today. In my time, there were no laptops. So it's like either you developed the instincts or you just weren't good. Now you could skip over developing the instincts, use your computer to trigger sounds and look at wave files and read the BPMs on your MP3s in your Serato and think you're good, but it's an illusion. You're actually not as good as you think because if I strip all that away, can you still get busy? So that's what we're going to work on today, man. It's just building your instincts. Okay? So we're just going to drop onto one, okay?
All right.
One, two, three, four. I want you to spin back.
Spin back.
Yeah, spin back. Don't hit the Q button.
Don't hit the what?
Don't hit the Q button.
Oh, the Q. No. Okay.
Just keep dropping on the one.
So just another thing I forgot because I haven't done it in a while. So when you like push, like when you drop it, you got to give it a little, just a tiny little push to drop it, right?
Great question. Love it.
Because
Love the question.
I
Yeah,
haven't been on it in a while, so I just,
When you do the drop, right now, what I want you to do is just release the record, and your hand is gonna take off.
Okay.
You're gonna take off. You're gonna launch the record, and your hand's gonna take off in the direction that the platter is moving. All right. So I want you to, when you do your drops, you're gonna do this. Be careful about doing this. So you don't want to come up. You want to move forward or up.
Gotcha.
Okay? And you want to just take off. Launch the record. What might happen is as you're about to do the drop, you might start to kind of get like antsy because you know you're about to do the drop.
Yeah.
So what happens is a lot of people go,
and it just
right,
moves,
exactly. They push it
right.
because it's like their energy level is starting to kind of peak
Right.
as it gets close to that 4 before you do the drop on the 1. Okay. Stay calm through the duration of your count, through the duration of your drop even. 1, 2, 3, 4, drop. Lastly, if you try to just get a little closer to the set, you're going to notice that when I do the drop, right before, I kind of pull back and then move forward. Okay. So don't do your drop in a way that prevents you from hearing the attack of the kick drum. Right. What I mean by attack is you want the kick drum to drop in full volume, right?
Got you.
A lot of people do this. Oh well, it's like I try to mess up and I can't. Like my body won't let me. So some people,
but I know what you mean. Like you won't hear the full boom.
They clip the beginning. So it sounds like this.
Right.
It sounds like that, and you don't want to do that. You want to pull back. Right. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So set you up here. Give it a shot.
All right.
Good.
All right.
That was good.
All right, man.
Now, you've proved to me that you could drop on beat. There was, I think you did 4 drops, and only one of the drops was a little off.
Yeah,
your timing was a little slow.
Yeah,
but you're human. That's okay. That happens. Yeah, for the most part, I could tell that you drop on beat, and you understand dropping the 1 after the 4. Mm-hmm. You never got too antsy. You
the only
calm.
antsiness I get is, you know how like, you DJ masters, like when you spin back, like you do it like one swoop and then you just get it right there. Mm-hmm. I feel like for me, I don't know if I'm doing it fast enough, and I don't want to like do it too fast.
Like overshoot it.
Yeah. So
I think that's just feel.
Okay.
That's just feel. Right. The more you get comfortable with this record. Again, because you've been doing it for so long and you're not relying on hitting the cue buttons, what's going to happen is you're going to start to develop a feel, an instinct, an innate understanding of how many times you need to spin back. And that stuff happens naturally. That's why I tell my students in the beginning, don't hit the cue buttons, because now you're skipping. You may think to yourself, well, I'm skipping over. I want to get to the start point of the song, so and me backspinning, that's just taking time. Why don't I just hit the button and get there fast? Yeah. I know I'm dropping on the 1 on time. Why do the spin back? But what's happening is in spinning back and going through that discomfort of grabbing a record and rewinding, you're actually teaching your body and your brain and your natural rhythm to all work together in harmony. And you fail to do that if you just hit the button.
Yeah.
All those senses that require a sort of like calmness about you, so that when you're spinning back, you don't get antsy, you don't lose it, you don't get nervous. You develop that by actually going through the motions of doing those. That extra work.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
All right. So you're dropping on time. We're good there. Now I want to hear you do your scratch in the beginning before the drop. Okay? You do it in your headphones. In your headphones, you're doing this. You're doing the scratch in your headphones. Now I want to hear it in the outside.
All right.
Okay? So, the purpose of adding the scratch before the drop is twofold. One, you want to enhance the music. The whole point of scratching is to enhance the experience of listening to a song. So I could play a track.
It sounds seamless if you don't.
Right. And I could do a drop. But
nobody's gonna know that.
No one's gonna really notice. This sounds more interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds more interesting. Adding a scratch before the drop just makes everything sound better.
Yeah. Right.
That's one reason you scratch. Okay. Another reason is you in moving the record back and forth, your hand is keeping time and allows you thus to drop on beat. Sometimes people just hold the record because they're afraid of moving the record back and forth, and then they do the drop. Your chances of dropping precisely decrease if you just hold the record and release, opposed to moving the record back and forth to the tempo of the music that you're scratching to and then do the drop. This movement, the back and forth movement, helps you build the momentum that you want to establish right before you drop the record, so that the chances of it being released and launched on time increase.
Gotcha.
Okay? So I want to see you do this now. If that's easy for you, then you could do double time scratches. That movement, that back and forth movement, helps you build the necessary momentum to release it on beat.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's fix that. If you're gonna start with a scratch, make sure that your 4/4 time signature is established from the beginning. You kind of dropped on an off beat.
Not on the 4.
Right. Well, not on the 1.
On the 1. Okay.
Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, drop. So anytime you do a scratch a cappella, you have to stay syncopated. And you have to, if you're scratching to a 4/4 time signature, which Impeach the President is, then you want to establish the 4/4 time signature from jump. So here's me scratching a cappella, establishing the 4/4 time signature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So if you give me 1, 2, 3. That's off. You're not establishing the 4/4 time signature.
Gotcha.
So be careful with that. All right?
Okay. It's a little off.
Nah, that was good. That was actually better than the first.
Yeah.
That was good.
But now I know what you mean, because now, yeah, I remember when I played it, it was like on the third.
Yeah.
One full.
Yeah. Right. One full bar before
bar,
you do the drop.
The drop, right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Good shit. A lot of people don't. A lot of DJs that are beginning fail to be aware that they are like drummers.
Right. Yeah.
So anything you do acapella wise, you have to establish the BPM and secure your tempo. Keep that BPM, keep that tempo, make sure you're on a 4/4 time signature when you're scratching acapella, because again, you're a percussive instrumentalist. You're a percussive musician on turntables. So everything you do has to be on time. Okay?
Right.
So now we're going to try to get a little more intricate with the scratches. All right? You're not going to give me the same exact scratch on each side. You're going to vary the scratches, get more expressive in the scratches. Because the truth is this. If I were, let's say I got on and did this and then dropped it, right? Now you get on and do the same thing. Both you and I just executed the same exact scratch.
Right.
And there was a slight difference in the scratch. Mine's was probably a little more even. But for the most part, we did the same scribble back and forth scratch. If someone were here and their eyes were closed, they probably have a hard time differentiating which one of us went first. Right? The whole point of getting expressive behind your scratches is to give your take on the movement of the record back and forth its own distinct personality.
Right.
So the more expressive you get in your hand movements, the more you're able to differentiate your scratches from everyone else's.
Okay.
Now we want to try to like not just enhance the music, but we want to enhance it in a way that is personal to us. Okay?
Gotcha.
So we're going to now get more rhythmic with our movements. Again, your hand is going to be an extension of your voice, and you want to think in terms of rhythm now. Jeff, you're a different person than me. You have a different background. You grew up listening to other music. So let those influences come out in the rhythms that you coax out of the turntable. I'm different. I grew up listening to a lot of salsa, so therefore the influence that I had as a young kid listening to conga players or horn players, I'm gonna apply that in my movements. Okay? So,
and there's no like rhyme or reason to it. I mean, just as long as it's musically in sync with what's going on. It doesn't have to be in sync, but just
well, no. Like, I think you said it correctly.
Yeah.
You want it to be in sync.
Sound. Yeah.
You want everything to mesh with the music that's playing out of the turntables. You want to be conscious of keeping time, secure your timing, make sure that rhythmically you're following the speed of the music that you're scratching to. The drummer is playing his drums. You're a slave to the speed in which he's playing.
Right.
You want to stay in the pocket of those drums, right? Just the way a bass player would want to stay in the pocket, or a guitar player or a singer. You're a scratcher, stay in the pocket. The drum is you're following. You're that's the lead. Okay? You're a slave to those drums.
Right.
With regards to the movement of your hands and the speed. Okay? So if I'm doing the generic scribble scratch, it's gonna sound this way. Right?
Right.
Now I want to personalize the scribble scratch. So da 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 boom. Right? I'm gonna give you another rhythm. But although the two rhythms that I just coaxed out of the turntables differ with regards to articulation, the 4/4 time signature is still the same.
Right.
So like that was 1,
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 1.
Yeah.
Here's another.
Yeah.
Both 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Okay.
You want to keep time, just vary the rhythm,
Very
the articulation of your hand movement. Okay?
Right. I'm gonna see if I can do it.
Yeah, you will.
All right.
Try to give me something different here. I like that a lot. That was nice. Bring this up. Just do a drop here. Just do a drop.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the honey drippers in the house tonight.
Good, good. All right, stop.
I ran out of ideas.
Good job. The more you practice this,
Yeah, you'll
the more
create-
ideas are gonna come.
out too.
It's
Yeah.
like speaking any language. When you first learn the language, you gotta understand the alphabet, then taking the letters of that alphabet, forming words. Then you gotta figure out how to take those words and form sentences, and then you take those sentences and form paragraphs.
Right.
And then after you learn how to form paragraphs, you create stories.
Right.
So you're gonna gradually start to build your scratch vocabulary up. The way you could coax different rhythms out of a turntable. That's gonna happen as you practice. What I'm happy about is your timing is sound. Your sense of rhythm is sound. Your technique is sound. You don't push the record when you release it. You release it gently. And I really liked how when the vocals started, you didn't lose your composure. You stayed calm. You heard me yelling at you, yo, just drop it, because I didn't want to hear the vocals. You stayed calm, got set up on the left, did the generic baby, and then dropped it. Everything that you're doing right now, technique-wise, is sound. Now it's just a matter of us, like, pushing you. You know, pushing you to, like, now, what else can you do? How much more technical can you get?
Right.
But the basics are there, dude. So good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
So whereas now we're moving the record back and forth, now I want us to incorporate the fader.